Father John Grieco.
No, it's Grieco.
Grieco.
Yeah.
But it was Italian.
It is
originally.
Italian, so it's probably Grieco.
Grieco.
Yeah, something like that. Right.
I like doing accents.
Good.
But I'm not very good at them, but I like doing them.
Yeah, it's fun.
Reading books to children, it's always a good thing to do.
No, I'm not. I'm not very good at it.
Differentiates the characters.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you for coming on the podcast.
My pleasure. Good to be here.
I'm very excited to have this conversation. I've been trying to get you on the podcast for a little while, and finally the stars aligned. God's providence prevailed, and here we are. So here we are at Sparhawk Academy.
Yes.
And you are the chaplain.
I am.
Can you explain, well, let's see. I could jump right into Sparhawk, but I also kind of want to know a little bit about your background. So which way would you like to go first?
Whatever you want. I'm easy.
Are you from Bayonne, New Jersey?
Yes. How'd you know that? You did your research.
One of my jobs, I had a colleague who was an excellent colleague, and he was from Bayonne. And
is that right?
let us know all the time. He would compare everything to Bayonne.
Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
He was proud to be from Bayonne.
Yeah, Dennis Bachman was his name.
That's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think that's interesting. Bayonne, I think, is one of those places where if you're from there, you take a certain pride in it. But if you're not, you think it's like one of the worst places ever in the world. But
it's probably not unique in that aspect, but potentially a small cadre of places that particularly.
That makes sense.
Yeah, and because you get to look across the Hudson River at New York City from there, right?
Yes. As a matter of fact, from one of the houses I grew up in there, from one spot that I remember in the house, on a clear day, you could see the Twin Towers.
Wow.
Yeah. So, we were like Midtown or something like that. So it wasn't super close to New York City, but yeah, you can see it.
Yeah. That's pretty neat to have that in the background.
Looming. Yeah, it was cool. We rarely went into the city, though.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Same with my kids. We're close to Boston, but once or twice, maybe once a year.
Yeah, I think that's a kind of typical phenomenon when you live close to a big city.
Yeah.
Is that
we can always go.
You don't go in. Right,
never
exactly.
Go.
Yeah.
All right. So what was your family life like growing up?
Oh, it was a lot of fun.
Brothers and sisters?
Yeah, I'm one of 6. I have 2 older sisters and 3 younger brothers. So I was the first boy. And sports, good food. My mother's a great cook. Holidays were always awesome. Birthdays, just typical like 70s, 80s town life.
Yeah. Americana.
Yeah. It was good. It was a wholesome childhood. No trauma.
Were you a strict Catholic family, or were you
no, not
laid
super,
back?
No, yeah, more
Catholic
laid back. Yeah, not super strict. My parents practiced the faith, and we got all the sacraments, but it wasn't very strict. I think their example of prayer and faithfulness helped me a lot. But it was more fun than strict.
Excellent.
Yeah.
That's the way to do it, I guess.
For better or worse.
Sometimes a hard line to walk.
Yeah.
But because there are limits that need to be set for children.
Sure.
But then there needs to be some flexibility as well.
Right. Yeah.
So where do your siblings lie like now? Are they around here? I mean, where do they live?
No, so I have one brother in Baltimore, and then I have everyone else is in New Jersey.
Okay.
And I'm up here. Yeah.
So they stay pretty close, generally?
Yeah. 3 of them are very close to each other geographically, and then I have one sister more down the shore in New Jersey. So yeah, there's 4 in New Jersey, and my mother's still alive in New Jersey. She's a little more in the northern Jersey though, and then my brother Joe is down north of Baltimore. Yeah.
Do you get to see them often?
Yeah. Now that I'm here in Boston, I get down to see my mom, 3 or 4 times a year.
That's a good amount.
Yeah, for a night or two, you know. And then basically they know if I'm coming or not. And so whoever can wants to see me, which is very few people. No, I'm just kidding. My siblings will come up and some of the nephews and nieces, you know.
Nice. So it's like an all points bulletin, like John's coming.
Right, that kind of thing. Yeah.
Do a family visit.
Right,
That's nice.
Right. So yeah, there's always someone who comes up, you know.
So to go from Bayonne to the Boston area and Sparhawk Academy.
Well, yeah, there was a lot in between.
Was there?
Yeah, I don't know how much. I don't know how much you want to talk about my biography, but
I think
it's not that interesting. But
I think everybody's interested in knowing, you know, what drew you to be a priest. Your vocation story.
Yeah, so the vocation to the priesthood really comes through the vocation to Opus Dei. So I have a vocation to be a numerary in Opus Dei. Which most numeraries are lay people, but a decent chunk of us are asked to consider the priesthood and called to orders. So that's what happened to me. I went to the University of Dallas. My father discovered the University of Dallas through reading. I think it was like Crisis magazine or something like this, and liked it. And he'd also encouraged me. I went to St. Thomas More College one summer. I think it was the summer between my sophomore and junior year. I went for like a week, like liberal arts program.
Where is that? Is that
Thomas More College
New Hampshire?
is in New Hampshire.
Yeah. Okay. Near Concord. Or?
The name is escaping. Merrimack, New Hampshire.
Exactly. Okay. Yeah, I didn't know if there was another one out in New Jersey that another Thomas More College.
No, it's Thomas More, New Hampshire, right? And so I went there, and I was there for this week of like reading classics and the great books and stuff. So I think that kind of prepped the ground for the Dallas experience. And my dad asked me to think about UD, and I went on a come and see type of weekend, for prospective students. And I liked it well enough. People were interesting and fun. And I always tell the story that the Texas Stadium was right there. So the University of Dallas shares property, or used to, because Texas Stadium's now, it's no longer Texas Stadium. It's AT&T something in Arlington. Anyway, the Dallas Cowboys were right next, were our neighbors at the University of Dallas. And I'd grown up a rabid Cowboys fan.
Oh, wow, really?
Yeah, really.
So that must have been part of the draw.
It was part of the draw. It was certainly part of the draw. It wasn't the whole draw, but it was probably an essential part. In other words, if the stadium wasn't there, I really don't know if I would have gone there. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It tipped the balance, yeah.
Yeah, it was an essential kind of element. It wasn't everything, but it was something for sure. So yeah, I went there, and my sophomore year, I had this philosophy professor. I was studying. They have a core curriculum of liberal arts there at Dallas, and it was called Philosophy and the Ethical Life. And you do Plato's Republic and Aristotle's Nicomachean Ethics, these kind of classic texts in philosophy, and then some Augustine and some Thomas Aquinas. And it's just a light went on for me. It's like, wow, like things you kind of always knew being Catholic growing up, but they just kind of came together in a more real way through philosophy for me. Like the moral law is not just about doing what's right, feeling bad about it, God's imposing his will, but rather that there's this synergy between happiness and virtue, nature and the moral law, right? God and your soul, the truth, the mind. So I just kind of woke up to those ideas. And then, being Catholic, I realized, this means I have to go to confession and start practicing the faith.
Yeah,
and that's what happened. So I went to confession and started praying. And then the next semester it was Lent, and I said, I'm going to go to Mass every day during Lent. I started going to Mass every day. And then I was with these guys because I started taking philosophy classes because that fall semester course kind of said, wow, I really like philosophy. So I changed my major from math to philosophy.
Wow, that's a big switch.
Yeah, it was an easy call for me because I had reached like my capacity in math. I was in calculus 3 and kind of flailing. So I said, I need something with a little more, like, less abstract content. And so that philosophy class helped me so much that I said, I would really like philosophy. So I started doing philosophy. And then through that, I met these guys who were also philosophy majors. We're a great group of friends. We're all still in touch, actually. And they were in touch with the Opus Dei Center. They were going around to activities. And so eventually, I said, what are you guys doing for spring break? And they're like, oh, we're going to Mexico to help this like poor school for boys and just work there and visit, poor neighborhoods and stuff. So that sounds great. I want to do that. And they said, we have to come to this Opus Dei Center because they run it. And so I went to the Opus Dei Center like a week before spring break. First time ever. I went to a meditation. Meditations that like I give. Give now. And I asked the guys, can I come? They're like, yeah, sure. So I went, and then eventually, like,
just knowing you for a week, they're like, why not?
No, for 5 minutes. No, right. It was the first time. So I entered the center a week before the trip left, and I said, hey, I heard about this trip. Can I come? And the director, I still know him today, Johnny Montrose, great guy. He said, yeah, sure. And so a week later, I'm on this like excursion with these guys, kind of crazy adventure to
that's awesome.
Monterrey, Mexico. Anyway, it was a lot of fun. And then like a year and a half later, so I started getting formation in spiritual direction from Opus Dei. And during that time, I just had the sense like, God, I think God wants something special, from you, in the sense of like not marriage. And so I was thinking about the priesthood. I was thinking about some religious orders. But I just really liked the charism of Opus Dei and the guys in the center there, so that's what I did. Eventually, I asked to be a numerary, and then I was a lay numerary for a long time. So I was ordained at 38, and I joined Opus Dei when I was 21.
Okay.
So when I was 34, I was ordained at 38. And when I was 34, I moved to Rome to finish my studies, to like study full-time theology. Yeah. And then discern like the priesthood. But
going to Rome, you didn't know if you wanted to be a priest yet, but you got there.
At that point, you kind of like, you're up for it for sure.
Yeah.
You don't really go to Rome to finish your studies unless you're up for being a priest, but you're still not sure if it's going to work out. Right. It's just like any other seminary, maybe you discover there that, it's not really for you, or maybe something comes up and they're like, hey, this is not really for you. Mm-hmm. And at that point, it's no big deal. It's a big deal, but it's not the end of the world because, you're a layman and you have a vocation. And so you can go forward as you were. Right. Anyway. So that's what happened. I was ordained in 2011. I was in Chicago for like 3.5 years. I moved to Cambridge.
Are you diocesan priest there? Or?
No, I'm a priest of Opus Dei.
Okay, so can you explain the difference then?
Yeah, a priest of Opus Dei is a priest of Opus Dei, and a diocesan priest is a diocesan priest. No, I'm sorry.
But I know that diocesan priests can be in Opus Dei.
Yeah, that's different. So if you are already a numerary or an associate in the prelature of Opus Dei, and you're called to orders, well, then you're a priest incarnated into the prelature of Opus Dei, right? So your ordinary, your bishop, is the prelate of Opus Dei.
Okay.
He's not a bishop now, but anyway. But he's a prelate. So if you are a diocesan priest, you can join Opus Dei by joining the Priestly Society of the Holy Cross. I don't know why I'm doing air quotes, but that's what it's called. It's actually the Priestly Society of the Holy Cross. Anyway, so what Opus Dei does for them is give them spiritual direction, spiritual guidance to be a holy diocesan priest.
Yeah.
Right? Being helped and living the charism of
Just
Opus
doing what
Dei.
Opus Dei does.
You're right, exactly. Yeah. But my job as a priest is specifically to serve the prelature first and foremost,
Right.
in the apostolates that the prelature has going on, right? Yeah.
Okay, that's a good thing to keep in mind.
Right.
Clear distinction. So I asked a couple of people, Joe Billmeyer and Bob Sylvain earlier, about Opus Dei and its, what it is, kind of how it looks. And I remember saying that I read somewhere it's like a diocese without a physical geographical location. Just
right.
In, people who aren't familiar with the structure of the church in general, I don't know if that's an appropriate way of explaining it, where it's just like a hierarchy of people, but it's not necessarily pegged to a location like a diocese is.
Yeah, that's a pretty good way of getting at it. So you belong to it. You belong to a diocese because you just live in a certain place.
Yeah.
And you're Catholic.
Yeah.
You belong to Opus Dei because you have a vocation.
Right.
And then your commitments kind of like give rise to a relationship with this organization, the church.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But then it's also broken down geographically, right? Because you have to have, because you have to have places to meet, right? So centers and.
Yeah. So place does come into obviously the.
Right. So Opus Dei is you don't belong to it because you live somewhere, but it's broken down geographically just for organizational purposes, right? Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, it's kind of complicated. I would just say it's a group in the Catholic Church that really it's, Saint Josemaria would say it's a family, and an army at the same time. And so, and so it's a group of people in the church who are called to live a certain family life together, to care about each other, and also to carry out a kind of mission, right? And so that takes, basic structures of places to meet, and for the celibate members, places to live, the priests to live together.
So Sparhawk Academy.
Yeah.
And Montrose.
Yeah.
Not Montrose.
No,
Montrose.
Yeah, Montrose.
So
would that it were so simple.
So how did you get to be the chaplain of those schools?
I got lucky. No, I'm just kidding. It is luck. It luck in the sense of I'm blessed to be there. No, you get assigned. So I was in the center in Cambridge.
Okay.
So there's a center
Lockwood,
there.
Is that right?
Elmbrook. Yeah, Elmbrook's close to Harvard.
Right.
Yeah. So I was in Chicago. I was the chaplain of Northridge Prep. And then.
Okay, so you'd been a chaplain for a school.
Right, in my first couple of years as a priest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I was asked to move to Elmbrook to help their apostolate there, mostly with college guys, young professionals, grad students, stuff like that. And as part of that, like I was going to Montrose, which is in Medfield, once a week, twice a week, to be like assistant chaplain there. Mm-hmm. And so I moved to Elmbrook in the fall of 2015. In January 2018, the chaplain of Elmbrook moved to Washington, D.C. No, I'm sorry, the chaplain of Montrose, okay? The chaplain of Montrose, who was then living where I live now in Chestnut Hill.
Okay.
He moved to Washington, D.C., was reassigned.
Who was this?
Father Joe Ruiz Sanchez.
Okay.
He actually has a prehistory of Sparhawk, so he was kind of helping push this project.
Yeah.
Praying for it. He said the first mass on these grounds.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I think like a few days after the day that they bought the place or whatever. But then he was moved like a couple months before we opened the school in the fall of 2018. So I basically replaced him at Montrose in January 2018, and then we opened our doors here in September of 2018, and I was assigned a chaplain to both places.
So what do you do as a chaplain?
I have a lot of fun.
I always see you smiling, so that makes sense.
No, so I mean, I think most of the work that I try to do is work that that only the chaplain can do, right? Because there's one chaplain and two assistant chaplains who are here a couple of days a week, or in Montrose a couple of days a week. And thank God we've got about 260 girls at Montrose now, 6th through 12th grade.
That's big.
And here it's growing, right? We just added the 9th grade, as you know, and over 100 students here. So I really try to focus on what a chaplain is for, right? Which is the sacraments, being available for spiritual guidance, right? For faculty if they have questions or if they want to meet, and then instruction. So at Montrose, what I do is once a month. I try to do it once a month. It's hard to make it happen every month because of busyness, but I'll go into their classroom. So each religion section will have one period a week when I go in and I give the class. And then there, for what we do for confessions is we'll have 2 days a month of all-day adoration. So the religion teacher will bring their children, their students, into the chapel for adoration, and during that period, however long they're there, I'm available for confessions. Here we do it a little bit different. What we do here is once a month, they come to the chapel with me. I give the talk in the chapel, and then when I'm done, I leave them with their teacher who prays with them, and I'm available in the confessional for the boys. So yeah, I do that for the ideal, and I'm pretty good about hitting it, but it's not always perfect. The ideal is that every class has at least one chapel period a month, right between the two schools. Yeah, and then there's mass, daily mass in both places.
Sure, yeah. But when you do the religious class, do you do it for the entire school at once?
Oh no. One so that's the hard part.
Okay.
The hardest part is the scheduling.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you do it like
so
grade
let's say
by grade?
So yeah, let's say for instance here there's a 3rd grade section, there's a 4th grade section, there's 2 5th grade sections, there's a 6th grade section, and then 7th and 8th. And 7th is split, but they all come together in religion.
Okay.
I think that's how it works. So what I have to do is look at the schedule and figure out when can I be there and the teacher come in to the chapel. So yeah, I give about 22 of these a month or something like that between the two schools. Yeah, 21, something like that. Yeah.
Wow. And so
it's not that bad. I mean, a typical teacher teaches like 4 sections a day. So that's 20 classes a week. So I've got 20 classes a month. But I have to fit that in with I do other things.
Yeah, you do.
Non-school things. Yeah.
It does seem like a lot when you multiply it out for all the classes. I was thinking that you'd at least consolidate some classes to make it.
Yeah, that's a good idea. No, actually, I did that last year, especially at Montrose, because there were some smaller sections and grades that are close together. This year, just the way the schedule shook out, I don't do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so on some of your episodes of your podcast, I hear you talking to what sounds like girls.
Right.
So do you record some of those sessions, or is that a separate event?
No, that's usually a separate event.
And it could be women for all I know, but it sounds like girls because you joke about TikTok and stuff.
Yeah, so my podcast, typically I record it. I'm giving away my secrets here.
No, you don't have to.
No, I'm just joking. But typically I record it. It's a meditation that I give on Saturday mornings at a women's center of Opus Dei.
Ah, okay.
And so I take advantage of the fact that it's Saturday, very close to Sunday, and I'll do a meditation on the Sunday readings.
Yeah.
And then I very lightly edit it and fix the sound a little bit, and then I'll publish it again, typically Saturday afternoon or Saturday evening. However, sometimes, so every week I have that meditation Saturday morning. Twice a month I have high school girls' meditations in the same place. So sometimes I'll record those. And so that's maybe why you heard stupid TikTok references or whatever.
They're not stupid. They're funny.
No, whatever. I'm just saying.
But I think I have heard you say something about being at Montrose or Montrose. I can't say that right. But anyway, I feel like you might have said that, but I don't know.
So
do you record anything that you do here? Or is it always...
Yes. So what I'll do sometimes is we have a men's recollection here.
Right.
On a Thursday night. And I've recorded that sometimes too.
Okay.
Yeah.
They're great, by the way.
Oh, thanks.
I really appreciate that. And my friend Charlie Dalsass...
I think we share a birthday. We born on the same day.
You and Charlie?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
He introduced me to your podcast, and at first I kind of gave it a listen, and I was, doing a lot of stuff, very busy. But then I met you here, and then listening to it.
I'm definitely not listening now.
No, it's like being able to put a face to the voice.
Yeah.
I think goes a long way.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And also like knowing your personality a little bit too. But,
right.
It could be that I just, was inundated at the time with things, how life ebbs and flows. And
life's crazy.
Yeah.
Life's crazy. But yeah, I'm very happy. I wish I could be here more. And we'll have to see what happens, But between the two schools, it's hard to do justice to the smaller school, But.
Well, I think it has to be proportionate. I mean, you have a lot more students over there, and it makes sense.
Yeah, it's not ideal right now, but yeah, we do what we can.
So I don't know if it's all right if we switch gears about talking about just the church in general.
Yeah, I'm very bad at that.
Okay.
I'm a kind of stay in your lane kind of guy.
No. This isn't...
But I can talk about it, of course.
So I guess what I wanted to say, because we're talking about podcasts, we're doing a podcast.
Yeah.
It's related to that. I have a feeling of hope.
Absolutely.
And
me too.
Excitement.
Yeah, me too.
About what's happening in the church. And I don't know if, there are some negatives related to technology and the proliferation of smartphones and screens.
Right.
But podcasting, has, I think, a lot of power for good. Mm-hmm. And I've seen a lot of things happen, and people claim a lot of good things happen because of being exposed to ideas and conversations and people.
Right.
And you're part of that. So
yeah, I think there's a real sense that there's a lot of conversions happening, especially among young people. And even more particularly young men, which is interesting, that a lot of people are discovering the truth of the Catholic faith and embracing it and converting, right, becoming baptized or returning to the sacraments.
Yeah,
that's happening a lot. I see it a little bit in the schools too, even though these are kids, right? And
yeah.
So maybe a family's not super practicing, but then the boy's at the school and he wants to have his first communion, right? He hasn't had it yet, or whatever, We have a couple of girls at Montrose being received into the church this year.
Excellent.
in their parishes, But
that's great.
But part of that was through the atmosphere at the school and the religion classes. There are dioceses that have a lot of people coming, like hundreds, thousands, right, of people coming to the church every Easter. Even locally, right?
Do you mean in the United States?
In the United States,
okay.
Yeah.
Because I know,
no, that's right.
Different countries could.
No,
be
in the United
but
States, yeah,
they're really thriving here.
Right. It's not every place, but there are places that have a lot of converts. It's very interesting. Even here, locally, like Harvard has dozens of people come into the church.
Like the Harvard University?
Yeah, just
students,
college. Yeah, it's a whole.
Some of the
college and up. Let's put it that way. Yeah, I don't know about faculty. I don't know the individuals.
Yeah,
but it's like, it's like in the 60s or 70s in terms of the number of people.
Yeah.
So if you go to the Easter Vigil, it takes a long time because they had to baptize all these people, and confirm all these people, and receive them into the church. So yeah, I was just with Archbishop Henning visited Montrose, the new Archbishop of Boston, relatively new. And he was saying the same thing. He's like, yeah, you guys, these schools, you got to be ready for more. You got to increase your capacity for more students, because there's a lot of people who are going to be looking for good, Christian Catholic education, right? Places where the faith is lived.
It doesn't help that the schools aren't any good. The public schools,
right?
You know,
Right.
they're,
The
people are fleeing them too.
For different reasons. There are some good public schools, but yeah. It's not. Yeah. Anyway, so there's lots of signs of hope. There's lots of signs of hope. Absolutely.
That's great. So, what was the instigation of your podcast?
It was the pandemic.
Aha. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Just to get your flock, the
right. I was actually just thinking about guys like you, who might be coming to like a monthly evening at recollection.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden there's nothing. And I have all this time on my hands, right? Because the schools are closed and the churches are closed.
Yeah.
And so I just wondered, and I talked to Joe Billmeyer. I said, what do you think if I put stuff online for guys? He said, sounds good. And so, so the first couple meditations on my podcast are from March of 2020.
Wow. Right then.
Right. And so when I said, I'm put it online or share it like electronically, I said, well, I might as well make, podcasts were already around and kind of a big thing.
Yeah.
I said, I might as well make it a podcast because it's an easy way to do it. And not just the people who I send the link to will eventually see it, but other people.
People can discover it on those platforms.
Yeah, right. So that's what I did. And, and I haven't stopped since. It's not hugely popular, but.
Well, I mean,
it's okay.
You're doing the important work of putting your presentations of Sunday readings out there, and I like going through historical ones. A lot of times you'll put out ones that are rebroadcasting.
Yeah, because I can't.
Which I think are great because it's always usually appropriate for the time of year.
Right. I try to pick like better ones to rebroadcast. So what happens if you get busy? If I get busy and I can't record or I can't edit or I'm out of town or whatever, I'll just go back and rebroadcast something.
I think that's great though. It's because it means I don't have to search so deeply in my podcast list. It's always up there on the top every week. So you're consistent with that. I think that goes a long way. And a lot of times there are ones that I haven't, they're before I even started listening to you.
Right. So since it's just audio, it's a very simple process. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't take much time even. I'm preaching these meditations anyway. Yep. And so I just say, okay, this one I think I'll record and that's the one I'll publish. Yeah, I just hope it doesn't get too repetitive, right? Because, I only have so many tricks up my sleeve, rhetorical tricks or jokes. But anyway, so I certainly have repeated like anecdotes or jokes, right, in the course of the new meditations. But it's fine.
Yeah, sure, it's fine. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I think I could hear the same homily every year about something, and it would seem like new to me every time.
Right. Well, that's
because a lot happens between last year's.
Yeah, it's funny that you mentioned that. Right.
Yeah. Or especially the 3-year cycle.
Right. Exactly.
You get different readings.
Yeah.
For
Right.
Different events of the year.
Yeah.
But
that's the hope.
Yeah, for sure. So, what do you think about the different liturgies that people kind of debate about? There's the Novus Ordo and then the Tridentine Latin Mass.
Yeah.
Do you have any strong feelings about that?
That's a touchy subject.
It is, but
I like it. It's a good question.
It's something that I don't have strong feelings about it, but I've never gone to a traditional Latin Mass.
Yeah.
People have told me to, and I've been intrigued and kind of wanted to, but I have my opinions about different presentations of the Novus Ordo Mass.
Right. Right.
That's something that I'm very familiar with.
Yeah.
And, affects me
Right.
a lot.
No, that makes sense.
But
Yeah. Yeah, I understand people who gravitate towards the traditional Latin Mass because it's more uniform, and there's, and the people who do the traditional Latin Mass are less likely to be the kind of people who would do the Novus Ordo poorly, right? So there's a certain like self-selection of
correct. Yeah.
piety and
It's kind of like
reverence.
you're guaranteeing a certain level of
Yeah, right. Of seriousness,
and
and
reverence
piety and
and-
reverence, right?
yeah.
And that's what people are looking for, is like the sense of the transcendent in the older rites.
I think that's a good point, is that if you walk into some parish where they're just doing a regular Novus Ordo, you never know what you're going to get. If you're on vacation somewhere, or
Sure.
the timing didn't work out for your regular
Sure.
Mass attendance, that happens to me a lot, actually.
Yeah. So my experience is kind of interesting, because I don't know if it's interesting, but from my point of view, I'm too young to really like miss
Yeah.
the Tridentine Mass or
Did you ever attend before?
the older
No.
rite.
You're
I wasn't
not that old,
alive,
right?
I wasn't alive. And then, and then when I came to really appreciate the sacraments more as an adult in college, it was what I was used to, and it was fine. It was more like, okay, it was more the doctrine and
Yeah.
the reality. Okay, this is Jesus. And no, there were good priests around. And then Opus Dei has a kind of tradition of doing the Novus Ordo with Latin when we can. I often use the Novus Ordo in Latin. And there's a kind of a thank God, right? St. Josemaria really had a love for the liturgy, and so he left a kind of legacy of trying to say the Mass with a lot of reverence and love,
Yeah.
and care for the little things.
Yeah.
And so whether that's in the vernacular English or in Latin in the Novus Ordo, I hope that it helps people to pray, right?
Yes.
The way the priests of Opus Dei typically say Mass. So yeah, again, I've been in Opus Dei since I was 21. Before that, I was just typical parishes. I didn't care so much about what the Mass looked like. I mean, to my detriment. But so yeah, for me, it's like, well, just do I mean, I get it, and it's easy to say, and I understand why people are attracted to the older Mass. But I'm just like, hey, the Mass is the Mass. It's Jesus. It's the sacrifice of Calvary. Can there be things that are better? That's beyond my pay grade. I'm not responsible for performing the liturgy. But I think if you do the Novus Ordo reverently, you can love God and worship God,
Yeah, definitely. No, I'm glad that you put it that way, because
and God acts. I mean, that's the more important thing, is God, right? God
Right.
acts through the liturgy.
right. And the sacraments are real, whether somebody's saying it well or not.
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
And I guess from my perspective, it's just the wide differences between different presentations. And I would say, I don't know if that's the right way to say it, but presentations of the liturgy, there are priests that kind of riff on their own about this and that, and they change words of things. And that kind of gets under my skin, because I think,
of course.
Because I haven't
That's
gone to a Latin Mass, I mean, I wouldn't even know what to think about it, because I'm so unfamiliar with it. But what I do know is I know the words that are supposed to be said, because they're regular words that, are said every single Sunday and every single weekday. And then when they're changed, it kind of just throws you off. And then you start like getting distracted. And I feel like that shouldn't happen.
No, people shouldn't change words that aren't supposed to be changed. That's for sure.
Yeah. So that's one thing. And you're right. Like if you're saying it in Latin, probably a less likelihood that somebody's going to be making up words in Latin and
Yeah.
riffing on their own interpretation.
There's very few people who can riff and ad-lib the liturgy in Latin. And those who know Latin that well, precisely the kind of person who would not do that.
Exactly,
anyway,
right.
On the average, highly unlikely.
Is there a favorite way that you like to say Mass? Is there like can you describe the difference between like a high Mass and a low Mass and what those mean?
No, I mean, I'm sorry. That sounds so bad. No, for me, I mean, how should I put this? Yeah, for me, if it's like a Sunday Mass, maybe I'll use longer forms. I mean, my weekday Mass is pretty efficient.
Good
That
for
actually used to
brevity?
be, yeah. No, just because of school schedules.
Sure, yeah.
It's not a matter, and I think this is important for parish priests too, is that, hey, if you got a job and you're taking, you're adding another 40 minutes to your commute to go to your parish 20 minutes out of the way, and it's a 7:30 Mass, which are, now I'm going to start complaining, but which are rare. Usually they're like 9 o'clock, which helps very few people who work.
Yeah.
You got to be out of there. You got to be out of there in 25 minutes or 30.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's life. And that was actually a kind of if I'm not mistaken, it was some sort of rule or custom in the church for weekday Masses that they're supposed to be short.
A strong recommendation to keep it under half an hour.
Yeah, because people have stuff to do, right? God wants them, and this is Opus Dei 101, right? God wants you in your work and loving people in your work or back at home, right? Taking care of your family. He doesn't want you in church all day. And the working man in modern life, you got to get moving, right? And so it's already a sacrifice to get to Mass. And so if it's 45 minutes or an hour on a weekday, so that's like a low, these days, that's like, okay, the low Mass is the efficient Mass. It can still be very reverent.
Yes.
Hopefully I say Mass reverently.
I think so.
But a short homily, right? Maybe some of the shorter forms when there's options.
Yeah.
Eucharistic prayer number 2 or 3, right? They're shorter than 1 and 4. And so, yeah, if I don't have that kind of weekday limitation, I think like a higher Mass would be a little bit slower. Use the canon, the Eucharistic prayer number 1. Use the longer forms, longer homily if it's appropriate, right? That kind of thing. Maybe too the prayers are a little bit slower, right? Said. I try not to rush through the prayers, but you can say them a little bit faster, a little bit slower, right? Yeah.
So many things to think about.
Not really. You just kind of get used to it.
Do you say Mass like by yourself sometimes?
Absolutely by myself, like with no one else there. Very rarely. Yeah, very rarely.
I always wonder if you're on a trip or somewhere.
Yeah, you can in
a hotel room or something.
Yeah, you can, and that happens to me. It happens very rarely
because you're always on a trip doing something. If you're on a trip, like intending to participate in some.
Yeah, right. So it'll happen when I'm just with, like, on some sort of event, just with other priests. Because then it's like, okay, let's not have to serve you. You'll be around. The important thing is that someone's around in case you die during Mass, and someone can finish the Mass or know what happened to you or whatever. But I mean, in general, it's you're supposed to have someone there because it's an act of the church.
Yeah.
And so even just having one server is more of a accurate representation of the church.
Okay.
Right?
Good.
There's 2 people, not just one. And it is weird. I do it very rarely. So for me, it is a little bit weird when there's no one else there at all. But yeah, you can do it. It happens. You can do it.
Are you supposed to say Mass every day?
Yeah.
Is that because you're a priest of Opus Dei?
No, it's generally recommended in canon law that
That's recommended. It's not a requirement.
No, it's not a requirement.
Because I'm pretty sure I know some priests that like take days off and don't.
Right.
So I'm just curious, I guess. But Opus Dei says you ought to. Like
Opus Dei and the church. Yeah.
But I mean, is it, Opus
I don't
Dei
want
has
to take. I don't want to take any days off. I mean, I love saying the mass,
good.
and I feel really weird if I miss it.
Okay.
I missed it just a handful of times.
Okay.
Yeah, I've been a priest almost 15 years now, and probably on one hand I could count. Usually it's because either I'm very sick, or because liturgically I said the vigil mass.
Mm-hmm.
And so technically, that doesn't even technically count for missing mass, but it feels weird.
Yeah.
Like if I do like a vigil mass on December 31st for the solemnity of January 1st,
Mm-hmm.
and then on January 1st I don't say mass because I've done that mass for that day.
Yeah.
Technically, I haven't missed a mass, right? Because I've done that mass for that day.
Right.
But I feel like I have,
Yeah, sure.
I don't feel guilty about it. It just feels off. Yeah.
Okay.
So sometimes I make an extra effort to like just say another mass that day.
What about the hours, the liturgy of the hours? That is a requirement? to
Yeah,
say
it's a
every day?
requirement. Yeah.
So do you see what I mean by a difference between a requirement and a recommendation?
Sure.
Okay. I'm just trying to get to the facts of what, a priest is required to do versus recommended and want to do.
That's right. Okay. No, I know. Yeah. No, I didn't say it was required. Daily mass is required.
That's what I was asking, though.
But it is highly recommended.
Yes. No, and I think it makes sense because when you start...
Strongly recommended.
I started going to daily mass about this time last year, about Lent last year, actually.
Yeah.
And yeah, I do feel weird when I don't. Like
Right.
if I'm at work and, I basically do it during the work week. And then Saturday, weekends are always kind of crazy, so it's not as regular. But sometimes I get to come to Sparhawk during the day. And then when I'm at my regular job location in Lexington, I go to a parish in Waltham. And yeah, some days I'm just too busy at work. And then, it's a weird feeling.
Sure.
I feel like a little off.
No,
which
right.
I didn't expect because I only started going to daily mass because it was Lent last year, and it was like a thing that I thought would be good.
Daily mass is a kind of a game changer for
it's pretty
your
amazing.
experience of the faith. Yeah,
I highly recommend it to anybody who hasn't.
Absolutely, yeah. No, it is a game changer.
The important thing is to figure out something that works with your schedule, which
that's hard.
Because then once you find that works, then it becomes kind of everything falls around it, and you get used to it, and you don't feel bad telling somebody that you can't do this thing at work because you're going out to mass, and it's just that's what you do, and it becomes part of you.
Right.
Yeah, that's a good thing. So I don't know. It's a recent development for me, but that's why I'm kind of curious about
from the priest point of view.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Makes
thanks
sense.
for sharing that.
Yeah.
Tell me your thoughts on artificial intelligence.
Oh no. Artificial intelligence?
We don't have to talk about that.
Yeah, I'm probably not smart enough to actually go on the record.
I've heard you say some things about it before, and I don't know how serious you are.
Yeah, that's the problem with me. Is like
I have some thoughts about it too.
No, I guess some thoughts about my comments, which is that if my lips are moving, it's like 85% chance that I'm joking or being provocative. Anyway.
That's a great quality to have.
No, I don't know. It gets me in trouble.
Well, you can always get yourself out.
It gets me in trouble. So I obviously, I mean, I'm not at all an expert on the technology.
Yeah. I don't think anybody is.
And so there's what people mean by it is a lot of different things.
Yeah.
Right. I think a typical person, it could be helpful just as like, it's kind of like Google was very helpful.
Yeah.
The internet in general is very helpful.
Yeah.
Just to find out answers to things that, you wouldn't otherwise know.
Right.
It's an easy reference point.
There are different applications. So
right. So I'm just saying a typical person, like outside of their professional life, right? They're not using it necessarily in business, but just in a normal, ordinary like life. All right. What are they going to use it for? They're going to go to Chat GPT and ask for advice, right? It's like my experience. It's like, this is what I see people do.
I don't do that, but
Exactly.
I guess I'm not typical.
No, a lot of people doing this.
Are they?
Yeah, big time.
For advice?
Yeah, big time. Advice. I did it. I did it for my car battery.
Hi, John.
How you doing? Good. And it worked.
Okay, so that's more of a technical requirement.
Yes.
Advice, I guess I would take a different way.
Yeah, advice is like, No, but you're right. So people also do it. A lot of people also do it. And,
should I marry my girlfriend?
Yeah, no, or right, or what's the best way to grow in this virtue? Life advice.
Yeah.
Life advice. Exactly. And, again, I think it could be kind of good at that, but it's just weird. It just seems weird to me.
I agree. It's weird.
Yeah.
For things like that. I think it's excellent for the, I don't have time to look up a bunch of stuff. Can you please do that for me?
Right.
And then I can later verify the veracity of that, right? So I can check and make sure. I don't use it for work, although I tried to a couple times and it wasted my time a lot.
No, people are really trusting it.
Yeah.
With deeper things.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm again, I'm not in a position to like judge that, like its effectiveness. It just seems dangerous to be relying on a program or a machine.
Yeah.
For things that are so deeply human. It's already happening where people, they don't have boundaries with their AIs, right?
Yeah.
So they have AI boyfriends, AI girlfriends, AI therapists. And there's one part of you that says, oh, it's just a bot, right? So it's like, but part of you, I don't know, it just seems like, you lose the sense of reality, I think,
Yeah, I think those applications of it are definitely to be avoided.
I'm not sure entirely. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Maybe you could train a bot to be like a really good therapist. I would just want some oversight,
Well,
but there are horror stories. There are horror stories about the therapist bots.
I don't know how you do oversight there because you're going to have the therapist and the client like privilege of privacy. So who's
right? No. So I think you would need a sort of like a human therapist who's the manager of 10 bots or whatever, just to make sure that the advice, nothing goes off the rails. But it has already gone off the rails. It's very interesting.
Yeah. I think it's...
but whatever.
Yeah. I mean, the world's going to move on, right? The technology progress, it's just going the way it goes.
Well, yeah, this is the age-old problem is with technology is just because you can do something doesn't mean you should do it, right? Yeah. And not all
Ian Malcolm from Jurassic Park
or whatever. It's before that though.
I'm sure it has been before that.
Yeah.
But I just like that quote.
Yeah, it's a good quote. But also that not all progress, not all technological progress is actually what the church calls integral human progress. And so the church in her social teaching is always like making this warning that, be careful of how you use technology because you're more than an extension of your tools, right? And you're more than physical. Mm-hmm. And so you get into this with, bioethics and
yeah, for sure,
the IVF debate and all this other, there's just because you can do something doesn't mean it's a good idea, because it can have consequences that you don't foresee, and it just changes the way you think about yourself, humanity, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of people they're not prompted to think in those terms enough. Enough people aren't.
That's right.
And I guess that's the challenge of the church is to help people
Yeah, when the benefits are so immediate and immediate and kind of salient, it's very hard not to use something that, because it has some other like more spiritual, long term, right, negative effect.
Yeah. Slippery slope.
Very slippery. No, but it's like, okay, I want kids, that's a normal, natural desire, right?
Yeah.
And so, oh, you want kids? Here, let's do IVF. And now maybe you have one kid that turns out, but along the way you've created and lost 3 or 4. These are just the numbers, right? Mm-hmm. And now you've got 5 or 6 more that are still frozen.
Yeah.
It's like,
I think it's even...
Those are human beings, Anyway.
I mean, the negatives are...
I didn't mean to get into a super controversial topic on
No, that's fine. I think
your podcast.
I think technology...
No, but that kind of thing, right? It's like, okay, here's an easy, we have people with, who need therapy. Well, there's few therapists. Well, here's a chatbot that can mimic what a therapist does.
Yeah.
Boom. It's like easy answer for a very immediate problem. And it's very hard to pump the brakes for ethical, or sometimes sometimes it should be easier, but but in reality it's not, right? People want what they want, and here's a way I can get it, and so let's go for it, right?
Yeah. The dangers seem...
I do have to get going now.
The dangers... Oh. Yeah, well, we should go.
We talked for a while.
It flew by. Thank you, Father.
You're welcome. It's been fun.
Yeah. I hope to be able to do these more with more people, and perhaps you could come back again. We could talk about other things some other time.
I think I've exhausted all of the topics I could possibly talk.
But before that happens...
halfway intelligently about.
Can we close with a prayer?
Sure. In the name of the Father, and Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Amen.
Heavenly Father, we thank you for all of your blessings. We ask you to bless the work of Sparhawk Academy, to bless Dan and his family, and to watch over the whole world, and especially your church. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit.
Amen.
Amen. Great.
Thank you, Father.
Yeah. Thank you.
And that's all.
All right. It's a wrap.